All right, so we are back with Mr. D Respect here. You
Hello,
know,
sir.
yes. One of my all time favorites on the internet. You
You
know,
make me seem old. All-time
nah, I
favorites.
mean, you definitely somebody I definitely respect that's doing it out here. So,
Thank you, sir.
for those who don't know, he has his own. You can tell the people about what you do.
D-Respect, YouTube / I think it's D dot respect. Just basically, I do weekly commentary, mostly on hip hop. That's basically what my audience limits me to. And, and I've tried to venture off into other things such as podcasting as I'm doing now. But yeah, that's pretty much the short end of it.
So I mean, I don't know if you want to go into this, but what is your process? Because I couldn't even wrap my head around just sitting down and getting a week to process, you know, the music industry like you do. Because how does that work for you?
The process as far as just actually doing the actual video.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, normally during a week, I have to choose what the subject is. A lot of the times they're done that morning.
Gotcha.
The very morning. I'll wake up and I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, and I think that sort of works better to keep it more spontaneous like that instead of making it a lot more clinical and ordered. Because I'm not a very ordered human being.
Gotcha.
I'm really not. But yeah, write everything out and do the voice work and then edit everything out and then put the video together. It's the process doesn't take as long as you think. Maybe altogether probably takes like maybe 4 to 5 hours probably.
So do you like cram it in? Because your stuff always comes out on Monday. So when are you actually doing the work? Are you doing it like what? I guess that would be what Tuesday. Are you starting? Or Wednesday? When are you normally starting?
Normally it'll probably start. I probably have to say like Friday.
Gotcha.
Because during the week, with work and just personal issues, it's always really hard to to sit down. And plus, you always have to factor in procrastination. Because I'm pretty sure you guys try to do some independent work, but most of the times you probably like bullshitting on World Star or something like that, which is what happens to me a lot too.
Welcome to my life.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. So that you have to factor that in. But mostly it'll happen around Friday, and yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. So what are the topics that people hit you up with the most to do the D respects on that you haven't done yet?
Well, it's always if I'm avoiding a topic. Well, I don't want to say the word avoid. If I'm looking the other way.
Right.
It's always just a rapper that doesn't interest me.
Okay.
Really, is what it is. And recently, what I've been getting is Chance the Rapper, Logic. Which are people that they're fine, but what I do, I'm not necessarily like a music critic. Like I have to try to find something behind the artist, something interesting. Maybe like there has to be something there. And when I don't see anything there, then you're not gonna like the video. So if I finally end up doing it, you'll see why.
Right.
I was avoiding it because there's nothing there.
So Chance, what it's not your cognac. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it's not. By the way, my cognac is Henny. Just
I like.
That's my guy. Yeah. There's just, people have tried to push this whole angle where he's like a psychedelic rapper or something like that, but I don't see it. It's there. That's all it is. And if it's just there, then I'm gonna sound very disinterested, and everyone's gonna hate me for it once I do it. They're gonna be like, "Oh, D-Dot, you're falling off," and it's like, no, I have nothing to say about this guy.
Gotcha.
I feel you. I think the younger generation, they're a lot more open to like all of it. They're a lot more open to the, you could come on there beating bongos and yelling, and they might say you have like the illest flow ever heard. You know what I mean? It's like there used to be all these rules to what made you like nice or hard or the best or whatever. I think those rules are kind of breaking down, where it's like stuff that wouldn't have worked in the 90s, definitely you can kind of do whatever you want.
Well, okay, do you think that's progression, or is that hip-hop is regressing?
You know what? I I'm at that road too somewhat because I feel like rules give order. So it's kind of like, but then we're talking about music, which is supposed to be free. It's supposed to be you do whatever you want to do. Right. But I think it's definitely both. I think it's regressed in certain parts, and I definitely think it's good to be open in certain parts. So it's a very weird thing. Because I think there's some artists you listen to and you're like I heard Chance the first time I heard him, I was like, I don't know. I still am trying to figure out where it really I can jump on to kind of figure out. But his wave is so strong right now. I'm trying to figure out how people are connecting to him. It's not even Chi-Town. Like for Chi-Town, it's not really a Chi-Town. You know, the sound of Chi is not. You know, we talking about Legends of Chi-Town. We talking about like Do or Die or Common or
Chief Keef.
Yeah, most notably.
Most notably, yeah, these days.
Well, I do like that contrast though of you do have a Chief Keef and you do have a Chance the Rapper. There is a contrast there in Chicago.
That's true. There's a wide spectrum there at least.
Right.
At least there's a lot going on there. That's a good thing at least.
Yeah. As far as music's concerned, I don't know, man. You got your Joey Badasses is progressing, but it's also pulling back from the '90s too. So, what do you think? What do you think we're going forward or backwards?
Well, I think in a lot of senses we are going forward, but just like what you just mentioned, say with like Joey Badass, for example, normally the funny thing about hip hop is that it seems like such a progressive thing, I guess you could say, but progression in hip hop means taking it back. It means going back in time, which is kind of ironic and it's kind of ass backwards because just like Mickey referred to, when somebody does something different, maybe people might view it as weird, and that's not the reason why I'm sort of like a little disinterested in Chance the Rapper. It's just that it's really hard to be innovative in hip hop. It is because as hip hop heads, and like I've always said, I'm from the East Coast, so I'm a fucking snob. I'm an asshole.
Oh yeah.
And you're from New York.
Wait a minute, what part? What borough?
Well, originally I'm from Manhattan.
Okay.
Right now I live in Queens, but I lived in just about every borough except for Brooklyn.
Wow.
Because I don't want to get shot. Because I like my life.
Right.
But yeah, so we're snobs out here, and take somebody like Kendrick Lamar. I mean, even with the verse that he just dropped, I mean, he has such an East Coast vibe to him, and I almost feel like no one will ever be able to be at the top of the hip hop food chain unless they sound like they're derivative of an East Coast rapper.
Right. I agree with that.
I don't think you're ever gonna hear somebody like Yellow Wolf, like with that style, be number one, because it's not akin to something over here. Like you have to have that base in order to be considered the best.
Now, what's your being that you're in New York? What's the climate in New York right now?
What's the climate in New York? It's actually not that bad.
No. I mean, as far as like with this whole thing with Kendrick dropping.
Oh shit! You told me we fly off the cuff. I thought we were just going off into the weather.
No. Generally, it does go like that. But no, I'm like, what's the climate? What does it feel like in New York right now?
They're probably mad.
Well, these last couple of days I've just been to like work back and forth, so I don't listen to radio much, so I don't know what the radio stations are saying. But I've been hearing some of the responses. I just heard Ransom from Jersey.
Oh,
haven't heard that one.
I heard his response. Didn't hear it all the way because that's when I started doing this podcast. I heard Cassidy's just about an hour ago. Obviously, Joel Ortiz, which, funny enough, I thought Joe Budden was going to be I predicted that Joe Budden was going to be the first person to respond.
Right.
But I was close enough because at least
in the family.
In the family, exactly.
Right. You got to hear Los, man. I think Los got the best one out.
Okay, King Los. Okay, I think I briefly heard that too, but I don't know. You know what it feels like to me? It feels like everyone is expecting, if someone's rhyming over the beat, they're expecting them to diss Kendrick, but I think some people are just going to display their skill.
That's
Yeah.
what Los did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Los did.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
fun-
what he did? Okay.
It's funny because there's no way to like win this. You know, there's no way to like, oh well, you know, he got the better of Kendrick, because Kendrick fired the first shot. You know,
Right.
so I think it was genius on Kendrick's part. You know, I don't know if he necessarily knew this was going to happen with the, you know.
I'm
And-
pretty sure he had some idea.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think
alright.
this was a power. I think it was a chess move. See, Rosenberg said something on the radio that I think I don't know. Yeah, he did say this on the radio. He said this on the Realness. He was like, he just said what was already true. It was already he was number one, but I don't think people knew he was number one because he's not vocal about it.
Right.
And I think this is the first time that he actually said, in case you didn't know, I sold 1 million records. In case you didn't know, I'm the only, you know, hip hop rapper right now that's really winning on both sides. So it's kind of like, once he said it, I think people were like, wait a minute, maybe is that true? And now people are like, oh, it is true.
So wait a minute, let me ask you a question then. Had this song come out on the album, do you think it would have got the same buzz? But being it just got thrown out there, do you?
I mean, well, let me ask you: would you have listened to Big Sean's album? Because I probably wouldn't have.
Well, see, that's the problem. I actually think Big Sean is pretty decent. Now, and I'm hearing all these people like I listened to another great guy. What's the guy? Internet business nerd.
Anthony Fantano.
Fantano. Yes.
Right.
And he was like just trashing Big Sean.
Yeah, he trashed Big Sean. He
Yeah, and I'm
definitely
like,
did. It was
God.
actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm like, jeez, man. But I don't know. I don't know if I would. I would definitely check out the album because we're probably gonna review it. But I wonder if it would have just got lost in the shuffle.
There's no way of ignoring a verse like that, and I think that actually the other funny thing is that you're searching for like Jay Electronica sightings, and when he actually does pop his head off from under a rock,
Yep.
he's following like probably what'll be the biggest verse this
Yeah.
year in hip hop.
You can't follow that.
I always think, like, as a rapper, it's like that's the worst situation. Like, you know, because these days cats aren't in. You know, back in the days, cats were in the same room, so you would have heard Kendrick's verse and been like, wait a minute, let me move a few bars around. Let me kind of get things together. That's almost like a nuclear weapon being emailed. So Jay Electronica might have been like, yo, man, I just did this really nice verse, or, you know, and then, you know, he's somewhere, who knows where he's at. He's, you know, at Pluto.
Somewhere with his rich wife.
Yeah.
Doing a Illuminati ceremony, something
Oh,
like that.
boy. I'm not with it. I'm not with it.
Take away all the aggression. You just read the words for what they are. Is the track still as powerful? Or is the delivery of it and take it to the next level?
No, the track overall, it's not a very powerful track. I think most people know that, but the aggression and everything, you know, I took a step back for a second, even after I made the podcast about it, and people were, you know, I read in the comment section, some people were saying, well, he wasn't literally saying he was a king of New York. Listen, of course he can't literally be the king of New York if he's not from New York. You can't be, but he's claiming he is. But the fact that he said, I'm the offspring of Machiavelli.
Right.
It's I tend to not take the verse as serious because he's just saying, I'm channeling Tupac right now. I'm feeling like, I guess it's me against the world, you know, and you can't fuck with me. Now Anthony, now you mentioned the needle drop, Anthony Fantano. He also dropped me a comment, and he was like, "Well, I think this is Kendrick saying that he, you know, there's a lack of integrity as far as complete projects go." Yeah, but at the same time, he just said he's the king of New York.
Right.
So you can keep all that, oh, this is artistic, and this is this, and this is that. The fact is that he called out people's names, and he said, I'm trying to murder you guys. Okay? So you can say that it's artistic, whatever the fuck it is, whatever it is that you want to call it, he's calling people out. Whether he wants to say, look, my album sales are better than yours, or the quality of my album is better than yours, or I spit better than you, whatever it is, he's calling people out. So, I mean, just chopping it up into slices and saying, I think he's saying this. It's like,
Right.
he's saying everything.
Right,
he's
right,
saying,
right.
I'm at the top just like you said that Rosenberg said. Oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, I'm winning both at a commercial level and on an artistic level.
Right.
You know, on the underground level. So,
and let's also make it clear that this doesn't feel like somebody's gonna get shot. You know what I'm saying?
No,
this is not one of those type of deals. I mean, heavens forbid. I hope nobody takes it there to get so much offended.
New York's tight though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing that I've learned in the history of New York rap, and D-Respect can confirm or deny this statement. New Yorkers do not like that. You can't say you're the king of New York. And that line is a funny line because he's meaning that, you know, right now he's on top. He said the West and the East, you know, and he's juggling with both hands. You know, it's kind of like juggling with one hand. It's kind of like, yo, I'm the top. But that king of New York thing is kind of like, whoa.
This is no different than when Snoop was
kicked
50
over the
feet
towers.
tall and he kicked down
Right.
the buildings. This is Kendrick saying it in word form, whereas Snoop did it with visual imagery. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, and of course you hope it doesn't go into that direction because I noticed that Styles and Joe Budden.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they went back and forth a little bit, which is kind of stupid and gay because it's over Twitter.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it won't go in that direction because, you know, people forgetting that after he had named everybody, that real subtle part when he said, I got love for you all.
Right.
He said, I got love for you all, but I'll murder you niggas. I mean, with
Right.
that, you know, really, it pretty much just lets you know that this is just a competitive thing and don't take it so seriously. But as New Yorkers, we're competitive. And as soon as I hear something like that, I love it. You know, that's why I love the battle scene. You know, like I love URL.
Oh, let's
I love,
talk about
you know,
that.
I love
We
King
gotta
of the
get into
Dot.
that. We gotta
Hey,
get into that.
I love all that confrontational shit.
That's
Right.
that New York shit though.
That's what it is.
That's
what
that
it
New
is.
York shit for real.
You know, and I wanted to go. I want to go to the next Summer Madness, but those tickets are so fucking expensive.
How much did it cost?
I think they're like $75. I'm not gonna pay $75 to be in a room with a bunch of men.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's just not gonna happen. There'll probably
Yeah.
be like 2 or 3 females there, but no, I'm not gonna do that.
And
But
then-
And those are the ring girls. Those are the ring girls, probably.
those are the ring girls,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dude. So, what'd you think about some of the responses that you heard? I mean, I actually liked the Joel Ortiz response. It was solid. It was a good effort.
Joel Ortiz's response was good. You know what I really liked about what Joel did? I don't know how many times you guys have heard it, but I heard it a few times. And that little there was a small little segment where he explained something like, you commercial, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but he said like, you commercial rappers, you have too much money to respond. You gangster rappers, you respond with bullets. And you faggot rappers, your jeans are too tight. But like, I'm real hip hop. So like, this is for me right here. Like, this is my realm.
Right.
I thought that those bars were the most solid thing that I've heard so far. Like, fuck the rest of his verse.
Right.
And you know, fuck Cassidy's verse, which is just a bunch of a filler and just punch. If you listen to Cassidy's response, and just notice how many times he punches in.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my, it's terrible. It's like Cassidy. It's like maybe he doesn't understand that another part of being a lyricist is having breath control.
But you know, cats don't. I was telling Al not too long ago. I was like, you know, like I always never tell people when I'm recording, or I never tell people that I have like sometimes the ability to record, because like these days, and I think that's the thing that's digressing rap, is that back in the day when we used to rap, we'd be in the basement like writing our stuff and like rapping it off to each other and like, yo, you think this, how does this sound, da da da. Last time I've been in the studio and I helped somebody record, the guy he got high and he got on the mic and he was just saying stuff. And I'm like, and punching is such an annoying thing because it's like, stop. Then you gotta match it up. Stop. And then you gotta match it up. It's like, why don't you just do it once right?
Exactly. Why don't you just do it once? And it's even worse if it's like every 2 bars, which that's what it seems like with Cassidy.
And the funny thing about that is, I didn't think he was talking about Kendrick until like.
No, he wasn't.
I was talking about Meek Mill for a long time.
Well, really?
Seriously.
I haven't heard it.
Seriously. Like,
Listen,
the first
somehow
half of it is about Meek Mill, I think, and the other half's about Kendrick, man. But I always feel like Cassidy's like at least
That's hilarious, isn't it? That somehow this is about Philly.
Right.
Somehow.
But that's Philly, though.
But I think
That's Philly.
like when I listen to it, I feel like that would have been a cool rap back in like '03. He's always behind the times, you know.
But Cass,
he's irrelevant right now, so.
Yeah.
I'm hurt by Cass. Like once Cass kept getting, ever since that incident with the gun, man, when when someone didn't make it. Now someone didn't make it after whatever situation.
Right.
And
I'm not familiar with this incident.
It was something Cassidy got locked up for some type of someone got killed around his house or something like that. I don't know. It was some type of issue where it involved him and he went to jail. And he was fighting that case. Then he got out of that case and then he got hit in a car accident. And got his face caved in.
We're spending too much time talking about
You
Cassidy.
know what I mean? But I'm saying,
probably.
Right.
But I'm saying
Probably
though,
right.
Cassidy used to be that dude. Back when he was battling Freeway in them.
That was back in the '90s, man. My goodness.
Absolutely.
But
let's not get into that Freeway battle. Because
Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with that battle. But anyway.
Oh no.
Well, let's actually talk about your background as far as the music's concerned. Like, what did you grow up listening to?
What did I grow up listening to? Well, I got into hip hop fairly late because I'm Latino, so my parents. You know how? I mean, I'm guessing you guys are black.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys, grew up in a household where maybe you were your parents might have been listening to Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield or Otis Redding, something that derives something from hip hop. Something that hip hop takes something from.
Right.
With the sampling and everything. But I grew up in a house where my fucking father was listening to fucking Julio Iglesias.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right.
So I didn't ever make that transition until I was like, let's say, 13, maybe.
That's a good age.
Something like that.
And
what I was listening to first, man, the very first album that I actually bought, it was a cassette that I bought in the bodega in Harlem.
Okay.
Was Big Pun's Capital Punishment.
Yes.
Wow.
That was very first. And you know what? I take some pride in remembering that the very first album that I bought was from a Puerto Rican rapper.
Okay. That was
I
like
got a lot of pride in
97.
that.
96, 97.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty old. Like I'm letting you know my age right now.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But my first favorite rapper of all time for some reason was Exhibit.
Oh wow.
Paparazzi.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Exhibit's second album to me is like one of the best kept secrets of hip hop.
Yeah.
40 Days and 40 Nights. It's a great album.
Oh man, that's
And so I went off from there, because obviously Exhibit was both of them were on Loud Records, by the way. So I just from then on I went to more Loud Records, which was Wu-Tang, and
Okay.
and then I eventually I went through my stage where I only listened to like nerd rap. Because around that time, that's when cannabis came in.
Right.
That's when the internet was new, and everybody was into like multi-syllable rappers. And if it wasn't complex, you didn't want to fuck with it. So I hated Jay-Z when I was in high school.
Woo. Okay. All right.
I hated Jay-Z. He was too simple for me.
Gotcha.
And I was just like, nah, I don't fuck around with that Jay-Z shit. But then eventually, I got off my high horse.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
How you had the you had the West Coast in there with the Exhibit and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm from the South. Mickey's from Maryland.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. Like when I started off listening to I remember 2 albums. Actually, one from up north was Camp Lowe's Uptown Saturday Night.
Oh, okay.
That's a classic for me. And then AT Aliens was definitely a classic for me
Got
from
the
Outkast.
bubbly flowing
There
through
you go.
me.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely.
I love it, man. I
still don't know what they're
gotta
talking
download
about,
a few tracks.
but I still have no idea what they're talking about.
Teenage and functions.
Right.
Same
Right.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's great though. I mean, you don't always have to comprehend every word. Sometimes it just sounds good, like Bone Thugs.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. They had a nice little run too back in the 90s.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that
Mickey, what about you? What did you grow up on?
Man, the first album that I bought was probably "It's Dark and Hell Is Hot." That
DMX.
was the first one I bought.
Okay.
I bought that. But I used to bum a lot of different tapes. I had some early Jay-Z tapes. I had, of course, the Biggie. The first Biggie, I had that tape. So I had a few tapes, but the one that I really, really remember, I used to listen to a lot of NWA. My cousins had a lot of NWA. a lot of NWA. So it was like I was getting into Ice Cube was like somebody I was really, really into his music. When Bomb Squad did his album, and when he left the whole Ruthless thing, that was like, that was the joint. I was really into Ice Cube at that time.
Gotcha. So D, anything outside of rap that you listen to?
Anything outside of rap, man. You know, these days, if it's like outside of rap, when I'm walking around all day, you know, going to work and, you know, just going to stick people up in the middle of the night.
Nice.
It's just something I do. It's just something on the side.
Good way to spend time.
Exactly. What I do a lot is I listen to a lot of speeches. I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm walking around. I really don't listen to as much music as somebody that does what I do should.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I work in an office doing furniture commercials.
Really?
Yeah, I do graphic work at my job, like After Effects and stuff. So,
nice.
But dude, I listen to Joe Rogan,
Joe Rogan has a real ill show.
All kind of podcasts throughout the day, or like motivational podcasts. I mean, or motivational speakers and stuff like that. That's generally my day, man.
Yeah. I think what I'm really realizing as I navigate through YouTube is that I wasn't somebody who came into YouTube and said, look, I want to talk about music. That just sort of happened. And, you know, you just go online. I mean, I'm sure you guys just go with what you know.
Right.
You know, but what I know or what I knew when I first started isn't something that necessarily I was that interested in.
Gotcha.
You know, but mostly what I'm interested in is just, you know, just voices and microphone presence and shit like that. I'm really not interested that much in hip hop.
So what do you think about your it was odd to hear your voice once you actually got online, you know, because I'm having problems. I think I have like the gayest voice ever. So, so it's like, you know, so was it like a transition for you? Was there any change that you had to do to your voice or anything like that to, you know, because some people don't like to hear their voice, you know?
Well, with the voice, no, I mean, I guess there's a natural voice, like say if I'm reading something, I mean, it probably sounds just like this, but there's just already a default register that I'm used to being at when I'm making a video. Like right now, you know, obviously my voice is going up and down, it's up and down just like anybody else's, but I try to maintain one flow as I'm recording. But I spoke to somebody on YouTube one time. I spoke to them over the phone, and we spent like the first 5 minutes of this fucking guy telling me that this isn't me because I don't sound like the same person. I'm like, dude, it's really not that. My voice isn't that different. Trust me, it's me. Because he was like, no, your voice sounds so different. And,
right.
You know.
I can't believe you can't tell from the accent. As soon as I heard the accent, I was like, oh yeah.
I don't think he has a New York accent.
What?
I don't think so.
You hear the you can tell.
Yeah, you hear the New York accent. For example, if I say something like hot dog, like New Yorkers say hot dog.
Not New York.
Yeah, New York, you know, something like that. You know, I also, if I use like a word like brung, you know, which isn't a word, but New Yorkers, you know, we use that.
Gotcha.
You know, I brung it, you know.
Yeah,
gotcha. So let's talk about this this battle scene. Like, you know, URL, you got your King of the Dot, you got what else you got?
You got Don't Flop.
Don't Flop over in the UK.
Grind Time, which is just basically disappeared as far as online goes. I mean, their presence is gone.
So who are your favorites?
My favorite battlers. I mean, with me, my favorite is probably always going to be Murder Mook.
Really? Really? Murder Mook?
I'm really surprised by that.
In this podcast, man. Are you serious?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Murder Mook, not because I think that he has the greatest punchlines, because I think that there's people with better punchlines, but what I love about Mook so much is that Mook is more, he'll get in your head more than anybody else would. And he doesn't have to use theatrics in order to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mook will say something in a battle that, he said things in a battle that I've always thought about, and he'll, like, set the stage. I forgot who it was that he was battling. This is one of his older battles. Maybe it was Sirius Jones.
Okay.
Maybe it was Sirius Jones after, you know, Sirius had beaten Jin and he had a lot of hype. He said something like, oh, like, I feel like Jordan. And, you know, he's basically saying how even if I win or I lose, I'm still, I'm expected to win. And then if I lose, obviously I lose. And he sets the stage so much when he does battles. Like, he clarifies things, just like he did with Iron Solomon. Though I didn't like what he did with Iron Solomon with that whole Zimmerman thing. I think that was kind of corny.
Yeah.
But Mook, definitely. I've been fucking with Mook since back in the day when he battled Jay Mills in Harlem.
He did battle Jay Mills.
And that was back then when Smack was just a DVD series. This is before Smack on the internet, and Mook won that battle to me. And Jay Mills was from Young Money. Jay Mills,
right.
Yeah. He was a monster battle-wise in New York City. Okay. And the fact that Mook was able to go head-to-head with him said a lot.
Let me ask you about two different characters I'm pretty sure you're familiar with. One is, how do you feel about Disaster?
Disaster, I saw his last battle with Cortez.
Right. Very underprepared, I think.
Very underprepared, and he definitely does freestyle.
Yeah, you gotta give him credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. People try to play him and say that he tries to stumble, to make it, people make it seem like he writes out errors to make it seem like he's freestyling.
Right.
But he's definitely freestyling, and I think Disaster is probably the most dangerous battler. Like, you can put him in any ring. You put him in URL, he's not intimidated. You put him in grind time, he's witty enough to go with those Cali, creative type of battle, the Jokers or whatever. You put him in King of the Dot and he could go straight up, with the aggressive people like Pat Stay and all those guys out there. You could put him anywhere and he fits. He's just the most versatile out of all of them.
Right, definitely. What about somebody like, it just left me. The guy that has the spawn on his face.
Has the what on his face?
Spawn.
Spawn?
Spawn, yeah. He's got the Spawn tattoo on his face.
Wait a minute. Tell me his name.
Let me look this guy. Hold on one second.
Is this a new guy?
He's a fairly new guy.
Okay, so maybe... Really?
He's from Cali. He's fairly new.
Okay.
When I find this guy, let's talk about an epic battle. Let's talk about the battle back last year. What's the guy from New York?
Loaded Lux.
Thank you, Loaded Lux. Let's talk about that. I think that might be the equivalent of what's going on now in hip hop.
Loaded Lux versus Caligo.
There you go.
What did you think about it?
I think that third round was pretty crazy, man. I mean, you can't. Because coming into it, Calico had a lot of steam going, He was murdering people. But, he got caught.
Right.
And considering that he won the first round by default, to come back and actually win that battle is freaking amazing. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was... I thought it was epic. When I let me tell you something. When I first heard that battle, I was high as fuck.
All right.
Okay, I was high as fuck, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, the soapbox that Loaded got on. It is sort of an ambush because it kind of isn't fair. It's kind of like being in a UFC battle and you want to stop everything and point out how violent your opponent is, but then again, you're in the ring with him.
That's exactly what it was.
It's kind of a cop-out, but then again, it was original. I understand that, who was it? I think it was,
the guy from,
Verve did it to Holla the Don.
He did.
But I don't know. This was executed much better, but it's a bit of a cop-out, but it was something epic, and a lot of what he was saying was true.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't argue with it.
And the guy I was thinking about was Daylight.
You know what?
Daylight.
Okay. That name's it's making sense now because just yesterday I saw a trailer that they put up on that URL put up that he's going to participate in Summer Madness. So he's a big deal.
He's getting there.
So I gotta check on this guy because I've never heard him before.
Well, they like you ever played like Soul Calibur?
Have I ever played Soul Calibur?
The game Soul Calibur.
Is that the one where the guy has like knives on his forearms?
There you go. Exactly.
Okay. Is he funny looking?
He has the Spawn mask pretty much on his face, like tattooed on his face.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta Google this.
Please
wait
do.
a minute.
Daylight.
Wait a minute. Okay, so it's
DAYLYT. Daylight.
LYT. Oh, okay. Wow. This is like a tribal thing? What is this? Okay, so so immediately after this podcast I have to check out a battle with this guy. So he's a big deal.
He's not even like I can't even say he's not even that good as but he's his own character. I mean, you know, I've never really seen a battle that he's really won per se.
Right.
But he's becoming one of my favorite battlers, and he's not even that good. This is his personality, you know. He's just so off the wall. But definitely check him out.
Yeah, it's all about theatrics, man. It's all about just props. I mean, if you could come in with a gimmick. I mean, I really think that means that battle rap is moving in. You know, let's use this word again. It's moving into a progressive state because if you got characters like this coming in with like face paint, who knows what else this is gonna beget? Like, what else is somebody gonna come in wearing? Like, is somebody gonna come in wearing a dress?
Right.
You know, that's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I can only imagine like 5 years from now where battle rap will be. You know. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if we'll be seeing it on like TV now or
the web.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
The web accelerated. Cause back in the day, I mean, the whole thing was to go to the corner store and get a Smack DVD or get whatever DVD.
Absolutely.
And it was kind of it was more of a hand-to-hand thing, but
right.
with the web and with YouTube, you know what I'm saying? It's like you see one video. I mean, and then also it can get you done up kind of quick. Like if you get done up a dirty way and it just spreads like that, it's just
right.
like, oh, you can't run away from it.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So is there anybody else that you like really like a lot? Is there anybody that you are totally a fan of?
Is there anybody else? Well, obviously, you know, some of the OGs, I guess if you could call it. Of course, I'm a Thesaurus fan.
Nice.
Immaculate. I like Dumbfounded.
So you like kind of the West Coast going on? Is that like?
Yeah, when I came into Grind Time. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it works out for me. Like, the same way it was with just regular rap music, I tend to come in with the nerd shit, and then I progress into other stuff.
Gotcha.
You know, because Grind Time was definitely more jokey. I definitely was into those kind of battles. But I do have the background of, those Smack DVDs. And there were other people on Smack, too, that were really good as well.
Do you think there's anybody in the rap game that could actually hang in a battle?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. Well, please, nobody mentioned Cassidy. Mickey's dying to mention.
Who won that battle between Freeway and Cassidy?
That wasn't a battle.
That wasn't a battle. I don't think that was a battle.
Somebody spit a written in that battle. Somebody spit a written in that battle.
Hey, you know what I love about that though? What I always loved about that audio is Swiss beats on that. Every time Cassidy, every time Freeway says "put a beat on," and like Swiss just has this voice like what does he say? He goes, "Last gonna survive," or something like that. You can learn today. It's something. I don't know what the fuck Swiss Beats says, but I'm gonna go back and listen to it. But he says something like that. Oh, the last gonna survive. Last gonna survive.
Yeah, I gotta hear it because Swiss has a very unique voice. So I gotta. I remember seeing the DVD of that when I saw the DVD of that battle, and it was and it's a lot of people. I got friends that, man, we've had hours conversations on who won that battle.
Yeah, but then again, it's not fair because that's Swiss's artist,
right. And
so Swiss he's designing the battle around Cassidy's strength, which is unfair. It's like, wait a minute, if Smack mediated battles and he was more partial to other battlers than others, then it wouldn't be unfair. It's not a battle at that point. It's like it's an ambush.
Yeah, definitely. What about the female scene? Do you watch that? I can't take them serious, really. You know?
Nah,
oh dang!
I can't take the females seriously.
There's none.
I mean, because they're always talking about killing people, and it's
Al, let me tell you something. They're women. They're behind.
Ah!
They're behind.
Damn.
Yes. Shots are fired, man. I'm
Yeah,
telling
you
you.
know.
Well, let me ask you guys something. Okay, with your channel, what's sort of the is it a sort of thing where, okay, you handle these sort of reviews, I handle these, you handle those, or is it sort of just a free fall? Like, hey, Big Sean's album's coming out. Who wants to do it? I'll do it.
It depends. Like when it first started off, I was like, whoever wants to do it can do it. But then I kind of saw where people had strength in their weaknesses. Like some people are really good with R&B, so I kind of throw R&B stuff, or I just say, hey, do what you want. 'Cause I really don't listen to R&B like that. But
Okay.
if I know it's like Mickey does
Good
like
man.
hip
Good
hop.
man.
Yeah, so Mickey does like hip hop. It depends on. I kind of cater to the person's personality or what they actually listen to.
Okay.
Because with the internet, if you get one thing wrong,
Yeah.
people will tear you alive. So
Let me tell you something. I'm notoriously like a bad speller. I always have been.
right.
Well,
Well, at least you know.
No, yeah, absolutely. I know that that's not my strength, so I'm constantly always asking people, like, say my girlfriend, I'm always saying, well, how do you spell this? And it could be like the simplest fucking word. But sometimes, I'll spell something wrong in a video and people will let you know. You always have to point it out, I feel. You always have to, put it out there, and then
Right.
after that, people won't feel the need to correct you as much because they know that you acknowledge it,
Right.
I guess. But the internet is always so, well, actually, it's always, and that's what that voice always sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
everywhere, no matter what
So,
country.
so let me ask you. You guys have been asking me a lot of fucking questions. So let me
I
ask
love
you
questions. Go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
So this was started by. I'm assuming this was started by you, Al.
Yes.
Okay. So did you know Mickey? Did you know everyone else beforehand?
Yes, I did one of Mickey's music videos back in the day.
Yeah.
Him and the guy Dalen. So yeah, I kind of knew everybody. One of the girls on the show, I'm not gonna tell you, we had a relationship running for a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like I knew
By
everybody.
the way, hold on. Let's just stop it right there, Mickey. Did you notice how immediately he said, "I'm not going to tell you"? I didn't even ask. He said,
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. But yeah.
But, like, to cut it off before it even starts.
Right. I didn't even manifest that thought, and before I could even, he just shut it down.
Yeah, like right as he like, so about that.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean,
he's trying to be professional about
Right,
it. I
'cause
mean, I can appreciate that. He's trying to take it seriously.
I just
Right.
wanted to have like a platform where people could just give their opinions, and a lot of times when they do reviews, I totally don't agree with any of their reviews, but I wanted to give them a platform they could come out and actually, say something.
Okay, well, let me ask you guys something because since we're within the same realm because basically we do commentary on music. So obviously we're in this sort of world where opinions aren't really the most valued things within what we do
Right.
because of what we're critiquing. So do you guys ever have moments where you're like, well, maybe this isn't the way to go? Because I definitely do. Sometimes I sit around and I think, man, should I really be sitting down and like commentating on music, on rap music specifically? Because you know what it always is. It's always, okay, you're putting this opinion because you're a fucking hater, because there's something that, do you guys ever have those thoughts, or do you just, fuck it, I'm going to say whatever it is that I want to say? And
What do you think, Mickey?
Well, I'm more open-minded. I mean, I'm gonna say how I feel because that's just the way I'm wired. But I do. It is funny because if you do get responses, it definitely makes you think, oh, okay, it's kind of like sometimes you do get that kind of like, oh, because okay, there's somebody that's gonna hear this right now and they're gonna be like, they were trying to shit on Chance. They weren't even trying to give him a chance. He's the next one, and they don't even know. They suck because they don't even know. And it's like, dog, man. You know how many people that are out that I don't, me and Al always had this little argument about freaking the Odd Future guy.
Earl, man.
Earl, yeah. Like, I don't get the Earl thing completely. He thinks Earl is the next coming. I mean, I don't get it. And I just don't get it. You know what I mean? And,
I think Earl is that dude,
you
but I'm
know,
just saying
but,
that
you know.
I don't feel good about this next album coming up, but I do think lyrically Earl is a beast.
No, you got to ride that train to the end.
He's got to eat shit or get off the pot.
Hey,
You got to ride the train.
don't say that about him, man. Say that about Jay Electronica. That's Jay Electronica.
After he drops this album, it's either he hits a home run with this, or else it's that's it. The whole Earl argument just goes right out of the window.
Earl is, you know what Earl is to me?
He's never listened to an Earl song.
Earl is. I've heard Earl songs. Earl does the same cadence, the same flow, the same beats. He just, and then you know what, Kendrick, and I told him before we started this interview, I said Kendrick has raised it to a point that when he comes out and it's like some bullshit or it's just not even up to par, people, man, it's 90s rule right now. If you come out with some stuff that's just not really cool, people are gonna be like, man, that wasn't K. Dot's verse. It wasn't to that level.
Right.
So.
Right.
Well, okay. This is out on Earl.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. Okay, so back again to the critique thing. Okay, so you how do I wanna I'm drawing an absolute.
No, I'll ask you a question. How the heck did you get so many followers, man? Like subscribers to your videos?
Well, my subscribers mostly came at the beginning. A lot of them came because of Spoken Reasons. Yeah, a lot of them came because of Spoken Reasons, because T had asked me to do some video with him and another YouTuber or whatever, and I got a lot of subscribers from that. Some videos that just made a little bit of friction on websites. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just it's. I think my progression on YouTube has fairly been sort of stagnant, but I mean, I'm on YouTube because I want to express an idea. If the followers come, they come, but I'm having a great time just creating shit.
So you don't care that you would do it if you didn't have any followers.
Because I wasn't, I didn't start making money off YouTube till like maybe 4 months ago, and before that it was like,
man.
You said what?
Congratulations.
Yeah, till 4 months ago. And a year and a half, I wasn't even thinking of making money off of YouTube, and I didn't care because and that goes into it too. I mean, it's really all about what would you do if money wasn't if money didn't come into play, what would you enjoy doing? And I mean, if you passion. Exactly.
Right.
Wait a minute. So is that off the commercials?
Yeah, that's off the ads.
Wow. Is it substantial, or is it just like
no? It's put it this way. I work 2 jobs.
Gotcha.
I work 2 jobs, and then there's YouTube. But this, that's because I don't go at YouTube 100%. Because I live in New York City. Have you guys ever been here? Like lived here?
Oh man,
I've never lived there. I've been there like twice.
And let me tell you something. New York City. You guys are from Philly?
No, we're in Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah. He's a North Carolina guy. Well, you know what? You are Baltimorean / North Carolina.
Okay, in Baltimore, I'm pretty sure you can find yourself a 2-bedroom for like $1,000 a month to rent. Yeah. In New York City, you'd have to be the luckiest person in the world to find something. It's not possible.
Wow. Why is your rent so daggone high?
Rent's too damn high.
I wanted to move to New York when I got out of college, but it was like. I was like a hole in the wall was like $1,200.
Yeah, man. That's why they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
You can make it anywhere because the standard of living is. And you know what? People always say that, and it sounds like such a magical statement, but it's only because the standard of living is so high. That's what it is. Gotcha. It's not because it's magical here.
Yeah, everybody's trying to move up to New York. Everybody here is trying to move to New York.
What's the cheaper if like you wanted to go to the like more like the most reasonable place? Where is there any borough that you can kind of say, try that borough out? You might get a shot.
To me, I'm a bit of a minimalist, so living in the hood is not a problem for me because that's where I've always grown up in. But I would say most people disagree with me, but I'd say the Bronx is probably the fairest place to be in because the Bronx is still of course, it has its grimy areas, but the Bronx is still fairly close to downtown. It's accessible, a lot of the transportation. And you could find a one-bedroom in the Bronx for like 1,100 maybe.
Word.
1,100, which is not that bad compared to like Brooklyn, which is now becoming a lot. And a lot of that is because of
they changing the name.
The Barclays Center.
Gotcha.
The Barclays Center is like sending a shockwave throughout Brooklyn, and it's commercialized, man. So rent is going up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I heard they're changing the names. Is that true?
Changing the names of what?
The different boroughs, like they want to try to change the names. I heard on the radio that they're like doing that Soho, or not Soho, but they're trying to change the names to make it more, I guess, starting the gentrification.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, no, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. I doubt they're gonna change boroughs though. I mean, maybe some areas.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So you pretty much, I don't want to get involved in that, but I'll ask you, man. So being that you're from New York, how was that? Not to bring down the podcast anymore, but how was 9/11 for you? Like, where were you? What was that like?
9/11, I was on the train and I was on my way to school. I was on the train and I overheard somebody mention something about a plane. And then when I'd gotten to school, nobody was in class. Everybody was in the cafeteria watching TV, and we couldn't go anywhere.
Damn.
Mayor Giuliani had locked up the city, and students couldn't leave their school.
Right.
Until a certain time. So yeah.
So you were late to school that day.
Yes, I was. Yeah, and if I was just a little later, I would have stayed my ass home. That's what I should.
So, dude, we gotta talk about something else real quick before we go. As far as, I've been in New York and only twice, and it's only been recently that I've been. But it's so many beautiful women in New York, and they all got nice bodies, so they all walk everywhere. Like, I know you got a girlfriend now, but how is like the New York? How do you date in New York? Because it got to be crazy because you go around one corner, there's a beautiful woman. You turn the next corner, there's three of them. So how does that work out?
Show me where the Spanish one's at.
Yeah, it's really difficult because, like you said, everybody's on foot. So, man, especially in the area that I live in, like I live in an area with a lot of like West Indian women, a lot of just like Guyanese, Trinidadian.
They got the ass.
Exactly. It's everything. There's a mixture of everything around here, so it's really tough sometimes, especially when you're out on the strip. I don't know, man. It's really tough to stay loyal in New York City. I'll tell you that.
I can only imagine.
Because there's so many chicken heads. There's so many chicken heads out here. You have no idea.
And they're ready.
Yes, ready, willing, and able to make a twerk video.
Oh, see, that's my next subject. Let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the power of Miley Cyrus, because she's made it available for white women to just twerk, white girls twerking now. And what do you think about that? What do you think about these? I wouldn't even say they're crossover, but these pop people like a Justin Bieber entering to the realm of hip hop or getting into they're in our field now.
I've always been okay with it.
Okay.
I've always been. I'm not one of these people that say like, oh, they're trying to be a certain way or whatever. But the way I've always viewed it is, when hip hop sort of took off, when you want to say exactly when that happened, maybe it was the late '90s or whatever, when it really blew up. Nobody had a problem with white suburbia buying tickets for shows, buying albums, standing outside in Times Square in TRL when Jay-Z came to see Carson Daly.
Right.
No one cared when that happened. Nobody was saying, "Oh, fuck these white people." Now, it's so why should you have a problem when they start to imitate the culture as well?
That's true.
If you can't just limit them to be consumers of the culture and say, stay down there on your high horse and say, you stay down there and you can't imitate us, you can't be us or whatever,
Right.
Look, even the language that I'm using is wrong. Because they're not imitating. They're just, maybe you could make a case and say that Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber are imitating because they just want to, it's an image thing to make themselves more marketable. But just a regular suburban kid out there, maybe that's just how he identifies with himself.
Right.
Maybe that's him. You know, you never know. But I never had a problem with any of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But then again, you know, somebody could say, "Well, you're not black," but whenever people use that thing, I tell them, "Sir, I'm from New York City." Okay, so I might as well. First of all, I'm brown. All right, if you saw me, you'd fucking think I was black. So I mean, a police officer wouldn't think twice to shoot me in the fucking head if I look suspicious, just like he would to you.
Frisk. That is something that I don't like about the New York thing. Like when you go up there, that just random frisking thing is so not cool at all.
Yeah.
Not
Absolutely.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, you're segueing all the stuff I wanted to talk about, man. You doing?
Well, I mean, what else do you guys want to get into? I mean, I'll get into what's sort of your time limit here?
I got like 4 minutes left. I want to get you like a good hour, and then that'd be that.
Okay.
So
All right,
yeah,
good.
so we're there. So I mean, I know we probably passed this whole Trayvon Martin thing, but I got a conspiracy theory. This is totally about the police. I think some of this stuff is going on because
I'm speaking. Hold up. Sorry, I'm speaking to Mickey right now.
No, this is Al.
This is Al?
Yeah.
Okay. Al, okay.
Yeah, this is
Mickey, say something. Hold up. Your voice is starting to sound very similar. Okay, Mickey, your voice is just a little higher. Okay.
Okay. All right. My thing is this. I think all this police brutality stuff, I think it's got something to do with the Iraq War, because a lot of these people are coming back and getting.
Whoa!
Yes, I did it. I did that.
You did it. Go ahead, go for it.
I'm thinking because a lot of these people are coming back and, they're getting out of the military and going right into the police force.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
It's a stretch.
I think it's a stretch. Elaborate more. Elaborate.
Well, I just know a lot of guys that are from the military side of it are like, okay, I'm out the military now, I got to find a job. And a lot of them go into law enforcement because, that's kind of what they're used to in a sense, being that they were over in the Iraq War. See, Nick is giving me this stretch. Like, you give us a stretch. Well, fuck both of y'all.
He's giving you this, I don't know, man. Look.
All right, my last question is this. How'd you meet up with Dom?
With Dom,
yeah.
Man, I forgot. I got in contact with Dom somehow through YouTube, and then he said like he wanted to interview me or whatever, and then the conversation that we had was so good that we said, hey, how about we do a podcast? And then it just went on from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's out of DC, right?
Yeah, Dom's coming out. He's pretty close to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We might have to get in touch with him and get him on here too, because he's a funny character. That guy's hilarious. Well, man, I just want to say thank you for all the podcasts and thank you for your time too, man. I mean, you're definitely an inspiration, and I really appreciate your voice and in the hip hop arena, because I think it's a refreshing voice that we need to have, because it's not just about you're actually looking at it from a subjective view and saying, hey, this is what's there, and you're bringing up the conversation, so I really do appreciate that.
No, I really don't do any of that. I just run my mouth.
We'll keep doing it, man, because you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that, man. I love what you guys are doing here. I think you guys have a great flow going. When you usually do this is just you two, or you have another person here?
It's just us two, man. It's just us two.
Just trying to make it, man.
Just you. Okay.
I'm really honestly doing this because I want to be able to look back like 20 years down the road and be like, yeah, these are the people I thought were really cool that I, got the interview and, timestamp what we're doing, so.
That's
it's very selfish on me. It's very selfish of me, but
put the tapes in the bubble and dig and put them in the ground.
And I'm pretty sure you probably do the same thing too. Look back and like, this is how I was when I was in my however old you are.
When you were 21.
Right. No, I'm 31. I'm not. I'm 31. I don't.
Gotcha.
Oh, you acted like you was like you acted like you were 40 or something.
Well, I mean, if I would have told you I was 25, you would have said, "Oh, you're acting like you're 30."
Right.
You would have moved the goalpost.
Right.
I'm talking about the voice became an angry old man.
I just turned 30, so I 30's not fun for me, but I'm always through it.
Turned 30? Okay.
I just turned 30 like 2 months ago, so.
You guys are old.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
It's a little different. I'm like, you look back and like, dang, man, I really was in my heyday in my 20s.
You're in your heyday now. Never mind that shit, and don't let him call you old. You're in your heyday right now.
Yeah, man.
But you know what?
Have
I think
sex with like prostitutes and stuff.
I'm married,
man.
I'm married. I can't do that, man.
I forgot.
Yeah. So it's like, I think when I look back at my 40s, I'd be like, I was in my heyday in my 30s. I didn't know anything in my 20s, so.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we all
none
have
of
to
us.
hold on to something.
Yeah,
None
I
of us.
guess.
Let me tell you something. If I would have made these videos when I was fucking 20, no one would think anything positively of me because I wouldn't have anything to say.
Right. So, all right. This is my last question. I already said everything I wanted to say. But so, where do you want your show to go? Like, what's the next step for you? Are you content where you are now, or where do you see yourself going?
I am always content with where I am, and maybe that's probably a good thing and a bad thing. I'm always content and I'm always happy with just having a conversation with you two guys. You're very cool, and just
Thanks.
just being able to create with people and you asked me a question like this. I'm a huge hippie, man. When it comes to something like this, I'm just very like, man, it's just all about getting a creative message out there and just inspiring other people to just do what it is that inspires them. You know what I'm saying? So it's where I'd like it to go. I mean, obviously, I have an interest in radio and podcasting. That's a goal. But right now, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time doing exactly what I'm doing, and that's all you really have to do. Just keep creating, and then everything will just sort of unfold.
Good.
You know?
With a bong not too far away.
With a I don't smoke that often, but yeah, I guess you could say. Do you guys?
Every now and again, not too often. Recently, I had to join the system, but before the system, before the cubicle world, every now and again.
Yeah, well, we have to do this some other time, man. I got so many questions I got to ask you. I mean,
I got one.
Go ahead.
When is Jay Electronica out?
Hold up. Let me make something clear to you guys. I mean, if you guys have to go, I can do this for at least another 15 minutes or so.
Okay, all right. I got. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask because your Jay Electronica episode I thought was the best. That's my favorite one. I want to know, when is this album? Just Blaze said I just thought about this. Just Blaze said he had the album on his phone when he was at the Breakfast Club about maybe a day or two ago. When is this album coming? When do you think this album is coming? Because I told Al I don't think it's ever going to come. But I just saw this interview where Just Blaze said the album's basically done, but he can't really release it. They may have a couple songs that they could do, but he's over, drinking tea and crumpets.
By the way, I haven't watched that Just Blaze video, but I did see the thumbnail, and I was just surprised at how old Just Blaze looked.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, man. He talks like shouts out to Just Blaze, but he talks like I don't know, like he looks like he's really old.
He talks like somebody's drunk uncle.
Yeah.
It's like real spastic.
Oh my god.
You know what it probably was when we saw Just Blaze all those years when he had the dreads. He always had like a hat on his head. Yeah. So now you see gray hairs on his head, and it just looks weird.
Hip hop's getting old, man.
Yeah, everybody's getting old. I have no idea when this album's supposed to drop. I mean, I pretty much stand by what I said in the video. It doesn't matter when it drops. Jay Electronica his stock is at its highest. Well, it used to be about a year ago when everybody was still positive about something dropping. But now he's moving into sort of that detox realm, which is fine for Dre because Dre is a legend in his own right and he doesn't have to do a motherfucking thing. But Jay still has to prove himself. I'll even take something that Joe Rogan says sometime, and I'll apply this to hip hop. Sometimes Joe Rogan says something like, "You need all sorts of people to make this world crazy," and you need all sorts of rappers to make this shit what it is. And I think it's so unique that you have somebody he's right at the cusp of being great. Right at the cusp. Like, he's right there. All he needs to do is put out material, and you have easily 1 million people out there that will love it no matter what the fuck it is.
Right.
Just because they hate Chief Keef so much, they'll love it. Yeah. And that's all he has to do. But for one reason or another, it's just not happening. And it takes all sorts of MCs to make this hip-hop thing great. And I wouldn't have it any other way because it's a unique character. In the whole scheme of things.
He definitely is. All right. I got a question for you. I know that you are definitely one of your most favoritist person in the world. Favoritist, yes. Was George Carlin. Talk about his impact on you.
George, like where did I start? George Carlin. I think about last year, I read his biography.
Okay.
Or his auto. But I always get it confused. What the fuck it means when you write it? Is that your auto?
It's your auto if you write it yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So it was his auto.
Okay.
So I read his autobiography and it helped me immensely. And I think just saying something like this just helps a lot of people. Was what I read in that biography was that he struggled so much with finding his voice, and he didn't find his true voice until he was like in his 50s or so. You know, so when you hear something like that, because I mean, think about it. I mean, when I was a kid, George Carlin was just this white man with this gray hair complaining on a stage. You know, like he's Jordan to me. Like for him to doubt himself and to think, you know, to because he would struggle a lot with just having knowledge of things. Because obviously, when you're going to be on stage and you're going to, you know, talk all that shit, you have to be knowledgeable. And he was questioning whether he had a good scope of the world. So, you know, he talked about how he had to like educate himself, you know, self-educate himself a little bit more. And eventually he found his real voice. And how that has helped me is that I don't really take myself too seriously ever at any point, because I know that I'm nowhere. I'll never be, you know, what's that thing that they say where perfection is, it's elusive. You know, you're never going to reach it no matter what the fuck you do. And nobody who does anything thinks that they'll ever attain it. Right. You know, you try to, but you're not going to. So, you know, so what I learned from that was don't ever take what you do seriously, because everything will just unfold as long as you continue to hack at it.
Right.
You know, so, you know, but besides that, just on his material, you know, we'll be here for days if I tell you how he's inspired me and influenced me. We could be here forever.
That was deep.
I mean, he's definitely one of our greatest minds, you know, like his whole thought process was just amazing, you know, so.
He was a rebel.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely a rebel.
Yep.
How about you guys? Who would you say are your greatest inspirations? Just, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, our greatest inspirations are always our parents, but,
Right.
You know, as far as entertainers, as far as creators, minds, philosophers, whatever, who are your favorites?
Hold on, I got a better question for you. If you could,
he's gonna turn it on.
I'm gonna turn it on you. I'm gonna turn it on you right now. I got a better question for you.
All right.
If you could delete somebody and just take their body of work, whether it be an artist, a musician, you could just take their shit, who would it be? This is your catalog now. This is your Picasso. It's
my catalog.
Yes.
I would probably. Man, that's a tough question. I'd probably just have to go with him.
George Carlin. There you go.
Yeah, I just have to, and you know, and I mean, I guess it just means, you know, who are your greatest influences. I guess when you look at the question the other way, it would also be somebody who you would jack them if you had, you know, if you had the chance, because, you know, damn, wasn't able to. I wish I would have looked at the world that way.
Right.
You know, but that's the beauty of everything, and you know, that's something that I dealt with on my channel just a few weeks ago, because you guys are probably familiar with Kane Carter.
He's from Baltimore.
He's from Baltimore. There you go.
Yeah, right.
Have you guys ever seen him or anything like that?
I saw him on my birthday, June 29th. My wife took me to some restaurant and he was there.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, you know, that's something that I wrestled with a few weeks ago, as far as with originality and all that stuff like that. I mean, just everybody just derives their shit from another person. I mean, you know, whatever philosopher it is that you're into, you know, he basically, you know, took the juices from the creative fruits of someone else.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
You know, so that's always how it goes. But I probably would have to say George Carlin. Yeah.
What about you, Mickey?
And we're talking about like comedians or
no, just
anybody?
like any artist or anything.
Just anybody, just any mind, any creative mind out there.
I know what mine would be.
Well, go with yours.
I think I say 3 Stacks.
RJ 3 Stacks?
Really?
Because he's got the respect. You know, he did it. I think Outkast did it the right way. You know.
Okay. So it would be Andre 3000. Okay. By the way, I've always had a problem with Andre 3000 being like
I
considered.
saw
like,
your video. I'm seeing
Wait
all
a
your
minute,
videos.
what
did you say?
He has a problem with him being considered one of the greats because.
You know what?
Oh, here we
It's
go.
the weirdest thing in
You
the
know
world.
what? I'm gonna put it. Well, wait a minute. First, we doing two. Wait a minute. Let me get to my inspiration.
Okay.
You know what? It's crazy because when you say parents, that was the first thing I was thinking about was my mom's and stuff like that as an inspiration.
Right.
But
Cassidy.
rest in peace.
We got rookies. We got rookies.
I don't know. I have to say that I don't know. I don't have one for that
Well,
one.
think
So,
about it. What were you about to say?
Good.
Because our time's winding down.
Yeah. Repeat the question. Yeah, I lost it. I lost all of it.
Who would you? What creative mind out there if you could take?
Oh, you were about to. No, I'm sorry.
No,
you were
the
about to talk about
Andre 3000. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh,
that's
the
what
Andre. Okay, no, it's just always been. I think there's like a verbal tick in hip hop fans. You know, like just somebody who has Tourette's who just blurts out "motherfucker" just out of nowhere for some reason. And Kendrick just did it. Kendrick just did it where he said Jay-Z, Andre 3K. I don't know what it is that he's just included in it. And by no means am I saying that Andre 3000
I know what you're
is
saying.
not great. It's just the fact that people put him up there when he doesn't even have a solid solo career.
Yeah,
to me, it's
totally.
just so difficult for me to conceive that. You know, it's for me, it's like, man, it's like somebody telling me that like Derek Jeter is one of the greatest athletes of our time. But it's very difficult for me to put a baseball player up there with somebody who's like cohesively playing with their teammates, like Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so Derek Jeter is like he's an individual. Tom Brady's playing with a team. So it's like Andre 3K's always been complimented by Big Boy.
Yeah.
So it's like he doesn't belong there. It's not that he's not great. Both are great, but it's like they don't belong in the same discussion with each other.
But you know what? People took the Love Below, and they just because
And they said that was a solo album.
Yeah, and you know what? And I feel
Oh,
you
here
know
we
what I
go.
feel about Big
Here
Boy
we go.
that happened. People discredit Big Boy so much, like as if Outkast was not Big Boy and Andre 3000. He had one album that was a mixture of many different things. I think he is one of the greats, but I don't think he's one of the greats in the sense that his body of work it's close to the J, not close to the J Elect, but it's in that area of okay, J Elect has a lot of random songs and maybe a mixtape
Oh my
here or
God.
whatever.
I can't believe y'all.
But where's the body? Like when we look at X, right? We talk about X, whether you like X or don't like X. He has 6 albums.
Right.
And he has like classics. He's one of the few. One of the only artists that ever went like platinum. Like one album, it was Dark and Hell is Hot, and then the Blood album in the same year, and they both went platinum. I mean, he's created history. So it's like you gonna tell me that his catalog is like beyond X, and X has like platinum records and countless accolades.
Let me break it down to you guys who
Oh
this
my
my
gosh.
boy. All right.
Yeah.
Think about Tupac. I'm gonna ruffle a couple feathers.
Oh my gosh.
Tupac lyrically isn't one of the greats.
Oh my gosh.
Am I right? Can we agree to that?
I do not agree with
You know
that.
what? Penitentiaries, enemies, remember me, befriending me. I don't know how many times Tupac could rhyme that together, but he could.
Okay, we'll give him credit for that.
Vivid memories with Hennessy.
You know why they strike him for that? They strike Pac for that because when you put it against Big was a lot of metaphors and a lot
No,
of.
but my point of that is saying that Tupac meant a lot to the culture. Just like Andre, for him being so wild and crazy and still keeping it, where he's a lyrical dude and not losing himself. That meant a lot to the culture.
Nobody knows who
Well, you
Andre
know what, though?
3000 is.
All right, but hold on. It's very difficult for I can't allow you using Tupac as an example because Tupac wasn't a great lyricist, but he was one of the greatest minds in hip hop. And Andre 3000, I don't know if you guys remember this.
Oh, I remember
but
everything. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
He was on Bill Maher's show like maybe 4 or 5 years
And
ago.
didn't say a word.
And he sounded like the biggest idiot of all time. And Bill Maher kind of shook his hand and sort of told him, like, don't quit your day job, because Andre didn't have anything to say. So my thing is this. If you're going to claim that he's not a great lyricist and neither was Tupac, then where is his value? Where does it lie? Because I understand that people put Tupac up there because his persona,
right,
was more, it was like there was an aura about Pac. But
right,
what is it about Andre?
I think Andre is a great lyricist. Also, I mean, you got songs like Hey Ya, and you just came off of doing like, Southern Playalistic into AT Aliens. Like every album was different, and he brought it on every album. Like he's a dope lyricist.
But he was a part of a team.
Okay.
But so is Pharoah Monch. Like he's a great lyricist too. I mean, I don't know. That's difficult, man. I can't.
But you can't. But think about when Andre he came out with his own different. He came out with his own style.
Nobody knows who Andre 3000 is.
Are you crazy? This dude
Nobody knows who he really is. Hey, D-Respect. Do you really? Can you say you really know who Andre 3000 is?
Him as a person?
Yeah.
No. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
his personality doesn't resonate.
Okay, but can you say that about Jay-Z?
Well, Jay-Z doesn't have to do that because he has a body of work.
No. But as a person, do you think you know who Jay-Z is? You saying because he has a body of work, you kind of know who he is.
Because he has a body of work, I guess you don't have to depend on, does he have a personality? What does he bring to the table? It doesn't come up with Jay because, the music sort of speaks for itself. And like I said, Andre's great, but I just don't see where the currency lies in him. Like, where is it? What is the big thing?
He has one album that was a part of a compilation.
Man, you're crazy.
Yeah, he has a compilation. No, I love Andre 3000. I love Outkast. But I do think that his persona, in a weird way, has made him elevate to a level that I'm a person, look.
That's the same
people
thing with
that don't
Tupac.
like Jay or do like Jay has records. I just saw Jay at the Raven Stadium, and he rocked that joint.
Right.
I mean, he has records.
Did that ticket cost you like your whole paycheck? I'm pretty sure.
And I took my girl with me. It was a little expensive.
God.
Oh my god! But you know what? I did. What I did was I bought my tickets so early. I bought my tickets like in February. Like
okay.
I had saved up long before to kind of do that. But
right.
it was. When I saw the records, and the funniest part?
What?
A lot of the people didn't even know the words.
Of course they did.
They didn't even know the words.
I'm
I'm
the
the
only
only person. I'm sitting up there doing Big Pimpin' and all this stuff, and
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, these guys don't even know the words. But it's like, you're never gonna catch Andre rocking stadiums.
No.
Rocking stadiums.
Right.
A
Selling out
full
tours.
Stadium.
Solo.
We're not talking about First Mariner Arena, where I don't know how many that sits, but it's not a stadium.
Let's be clear. Anybody in hip hop that can rock a stadium is probably Jay-Z and maybe Eminem, maybe
Kanye. I think Kanye can do a
It's
stadium.
only three. So don't
Wait a
think
minute,
like
there's
that's
gotta be one more.
No, that's about it.
One more person that can rock a stadium.
And Will Smith. So that's about it. That's about it. But now, I guess we got to continue this conversation some other time because I'm really, go back and listen to your you make it sound like he doesn't have any albums.
I like how D put it down. It's the if you put Andre at Raven Stadium and tell him to rock for an hour or even 30.
He can do it.
Yeah, but how many people would be able to sing along and really? And he's not in Atlanta.
Oh man, white people love 3 Stacks.
They don't need that. I don't think they would know the songs.
Okay.
But you know what though?
He could do Rock the Bells.
Yeah, okay. He'd be able to do Rock the Bells, but nobody would know any of his recent shit.
Oh my god, he doesn't have any recent shit.
I guess there you go.
All he had to do is come out with Hey Ya. He would headline. Best believe.
Yeah.
And Roses. He could do
Oh,
Roses.
okay, look,
Roses would do it.
Okay, Al, I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Okay, so say if you were making a created player, just like you make in a sports game,
Sure.
and if you give Jay-Z lyrical ability, let's say from 1 to 10, what would it be?
I give him 7.5.
Okay, but what on Jay-Z's scale would be a 10? Because to me, it's several things. Several things would be a 10. With
I'm
with
anxious to hear this.
Andre, just like with Pharoah Monch,
Right.
just like with Lupe, you have maybe
Let's not talk about that.
one thing that goes up to a 10, and so it's just like I'm never gonna get it, so I'm not gonna sit here and try to
Yeah, I mean, because I think we all know people that are lyrically better than Jay-Z.
yeah.
But it's a ton. I'll put Cannabis over Jay-Z.
Oh
Cannabis.
my god!
You can't deny old Cannabis over Jay-Z.
No.
But
What is up with
we
the
talking about
Cannabis lovers?
overall, Jay-Z is like the Michael Jordan of rap, without a doubt.
Mhm.
I give it that. But Cannabis.
Okay, but Bill Russell won more championships though.
Okay,
Michael Jordan of rap.
Jay-Z is the Bill Russell of rap. Okay, we were
Okay,
like
Bill
that.
I'm giving Cannabis that much credit because Cannabis,
We're talking about lyrics.
Lyrics.
I like Cannabis. I like Cannabis, but I don't think he's lyrically better than Jay-Z.
Oh my God, he's okay. All right.
I don't think he's lyrically better than you. Got that?
Due respect. Who do you think's better lyrically? Come on, that's a no-brainer.
Cannabis and Jay-Z.
Cannabis and Jay-Z.
Okay, well, what eras are we talking about? Like, what times? Are we talking about right now? Because right now they
Oh,
both
well, that's the one. Yeah.
right now they both suck.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, right now they both
90s, like 98,
suck.
98.
Let me just tell you real quick that I love like I do a lot of cardio. Like I run a lot, and
Okay.
I love listening to Holy Grail, and I love that part when it transitions, where Justin's singing, and then the beat comes in,
Right.
and it always gets me pumped up. But then when Jay starts rapping, it's just like, but look what that shit did to Tyson.
Right.
It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
Bright lights isn't Tyson.
Man, he's
Yeah.
doing the voice. He
Yeah.
really is doing the voice.
Well, all right. Well, let me ask you this real
Yeah, I
quick.
did.
What is your favorite lyric of all time?
Ooh, whoa. Favorite lyric of all ugh. Wow, man. I'd have to take a while to answer that. Okay, I'll tell you favorite battle lyric as far as songs go.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. LL Cool J.
Yeah, I'll go
LL
with
Cool
that.
J versus Cannabis.
I'll go with that, and
Best-
that's why I can't give Cannabis.
Let this
Best
man talk.
rebuttal. No.
Let
Best
this man
rebuttal. When Cannabis said
Mhm.
99% of your fans wear high heels.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
He said,
That's right.
He said, ask Cannabis, because 99% of his fans
Don't
don't
exist.
exist.
Oh my gosh!
To me, that's one of the best rebuttals ever. Like, that's hilarious, and there's so much truth to it, too. Best lyric? That's a tough one, man.
I think LL may have all of them, man.
Are you kidding me, man?
LL,
You just doing that?
he's the GOAT,
Hey,
man.
Best cannabis verse ever, and I don't remember if this was from a song, but Cannabis had this fucking freestyle, and this was back in the 2000s. So back then, of course, I thought he was better than Jay-Z because I was still into the nerd stuff. But Cannabis had this freestyle that he did over Who Shot You,
Okay.
and it had like the most insane couple like first bars that like it would give most rappers heart attacks to be able to connect syllables and just rhyme in that pattern. Cassidy would have to punch in 5 times
Right.
in order to put that together.
You got the one, I'm a nuclear warhead. Right now you're provoking my detonation. Never test me without proper authorization. My lack of patience that caused me to get mad and full right in front of your face like
Wait,
an
wait.
airbag.
No. Which one was that? That
That's
one sounds
one-
really. But
That's one of the freestyles from Canada. It wasn't that one, though.
the one that I'm referring to when he starts off when he says like, I'm faster than leopards running across the vast desert at 32 yards per second.
Wow.
Catch me to dearly delicatessen. Takes me 20 seconds to eat them, 30 minutes to digest them, and 50 minutes for it to pass through my intestines.
There we
Yes.
go. There we go.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. That's Cannabis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I muttered a lot of it, but dude, when I first heard that shit, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Like I'm such a fanboy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was yeah.
He-
So at that point, Cannabis would definitely get better lyricists to me than Jay, because at that time, Jay was Dynasty Jay. It's The Rock.
But I'm telling you, Jay-Z overall is the best because he made the right steps
You know what
to be
Jay-Z is?
what he is.
Jay-Z's like the overall, like if you had a video game and it was like he had a B in almost every area, which
Yeah.
made him an A. I think that's what
Yeah,
Jay-Z
yeah.
is.
Just overall overall,
He's
made
like
him an A.
the most complete
artist. He's complete. Whereas Canvas, I think, like, if you were to give him an A, it's gonna be in being able to do that particular, the word on word on word, the word, that type of thing. But everything else is kind of like,
Yeah.
you know.
But I don't think Jay-Z would survive today, though. If he were to come out right now.
Really?
Because I think he grew up in a time where we didn't have to have a Twitter account or, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Instagram.
I definitely don't
be
think
harder.
he connects with
It would be a
people
lot
like that.
harder. It'd be a lot harder. I mean,
What's what do you think it was harder back then or harder now to be a rapper?
I think it's harder now because you got, I mean, think about what we're saying now. We're like, yo, Kendrick just went platinum. Where,
Right.
like, PD Pablo went platinum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That was a great single.
Like, you
Yeah,
know, like,
good single.
if back in the day, everybody went platinum. Like, that was the standard.
Right, but
Most people went,
It was a good. It was a
multiple
good amount.
times, multiple times
It was a
platinum.
good amount.
Now gold is platinum.
Right.
You know,
But music is being digested in different ways, so it's a different time. I think it was harder back then. Because you had to know somebody for real.
well, yeah,
Like these
I
days,
guess
you
you're
don't
right.
really. You could, I mean, Trinidad James. You could just put out a really funny looking video, and
Yeah.
people go, "Oh."
I mean,
whereas
Soulja
back in
Boy.
the day, yeah, Soldier Boy. But back in the day, I mean, you had to know somebody to put you on because studio was expensive, man.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you guys something. Are you and this is in regards to your channel, like does any of your future plans include putting artists out there?
Some people have reached out to us and asked if we could like sponsor their albums, you know, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm here to service the culture, so I don't have a problem with that.
Mhm.
But if we thought somebody was good, I would love to. I would love to do something like that, you know. But it just has to be the right person, I think.
Right.
I mean, what about you? Would you do something like that? You know, somebody came to you and was like, "Hey, I want you to do a couple of drops for my album. Would you do it?"
I've done it
Okay.
before years ago. I probably wouldn't do it now that somebody paid me.
Gotcha.
I probably wouldn't do it now that somebody paid me. Yeah, it is a little
Talk
Hollywood.
to my
but-
manager.
No, well, fucking man. No, it's just, you know what? Because what I found is I've had years of free work. I've done free work for a lot of people.
Right.
And, you know, at one point you have to just sort of say, okay, you have to give your product a little bit of value.
Yeah.
Right.
Because no one else is going to give it that value unless you start to set that standard.
Very true.
Exactly.
So, you know, I figured I paid my dues long enough with, you know, doing, you know, because when I first started doing this derespecting, it was in 2008, and, you know, I was on a online radio station in New York City, in Brooklyn,
Okay.
and that was a complete waste of time. But, you know, because it just wasn't being heard. I was actually paying to be on air.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with online radio stations. That's pretty much what they do. They're basically in the business of selling radio slots.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so, you know, basically that's what so if someone approached me for something like that, I probably have to be like, okay, you know, maybe, you know, just give me a couple bucks and I'll do it, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, let us know when you gotta go, because I got tons of questions, man. So just let me know. But
Okay, I'll let you know when I have to go. But I mean, but you guys, it's very difficult right now. It's like you're letting a fat kid eat, and it's like you tell him, like, you know, we're having a great conversation, and it's
Right.
really hard for me to walk away from good
right,
conversation.
just let me know. I mean, I want to know, like, what was it that made you actually start doing your videos? Like, you know, like, what was that time you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm just gonna go do it. Like, what was that?
The actual thing. Me and my girlfriend, we were actually like homeless for a few hours.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, not a day. We were homeless for like a few hours.
You were in the struggle, brother.
Yeah. We were in a situation where we were trying to transition into an apartment, and it didn't work out. And then I actually had to go back and live with my mother.
Okay.
Damn.
And I was unemployed, so I figured I'd tell myself, okay. And, you know, this was after the online radio station. I think this was like maybe in 2010, I believe. I don't know when the hell I started YouTube. It was in the summertime of like 2010 or 2011.
Gotcha.
And so then at that point I said, okay, while I look for a job, I'm going to, you know, I have my microphone. Why don't I just start making, you know, little random monologues? So I started doing the monologues on my regular Facebook. And I would put it up there, and I don't do that anymore because I don't want to bombard people in my personal life with this stuff. I don't have conversations with people in my personal life and tell them like, oh, I do this and I do that on YouTube, because nobody gives a shit, because I consider this just like my job. This is what I do. And you don't come into a conversation and tell somebody, oh, by the way, like I'm a doctor or something, or I do this. Like, nobody gives a shit. It's just what you do. So I then decided to put it on YouTube. And the first video that got attention was when Mr. C had, when he got caught with a prostitute.
Right.
Yeah, that was like the first video that I broke into YouTube with. And then from then on, then a few months later, I just started to do a request. The request series was an idea that I got from Nick Bag.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nick Bag.
You used to do the podcast with him too, right?
Yeah, I used to do a podcast with Nick Bag. I don't know, he's fucking disappeared. Nick Bag's he's a fucking maniac.
Gotcha.
But he started taking like little requests from people, and I said, you know what? I should do requests, and I should I should try to make this more interactive with the audience and see where it goes.
Gotcha. That's cool, man. I mean, and we definitely use some of the stuff that you told me about how we can branch out, and it's actually worked a lot too. So,
with the titles and everything.
With the titles, yeah, definitely trying to get that in.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, man. Let's talk about your boy Needle Drop. I mean, before we go there, what other things are you looking at on YouTube? Like, what do you subscribe to?
Subscribe to, let's see. You know what? On YouTube, I tend to just look at a lot of just random clips. Just people per se. I don't really follow people that much. Partly because I don't want to. You don't want to be influenced too much by by people who are doing what it is that you're doing at the same time.
Right. You
kind of just want to keep your opinion fresh.
Right.
So I don't really follow that many people when it comes to like music commentary. So I just look at random stuff. So I don't really follow people on YouTube really. I mean, I used to. The Amazing Atheist is somebody who I used to watch.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Philip DeFranco. I think I watched him for like 2 minutes. I got bored.
Yeah, me too.
Ray William Johnson is absolutely talentless, but he puts you onto a lot of great viral videos. Needle Drop is he's
the Godfather. He's the Don of this.
Yeah. Needle Drop, to me, the way I've always viewed Needle Drop is he's great because like he speaks like the language of music.
Yes, he does.
He speaks like a language of music that nobody else can fucking speak, and don't attempt to do it because you're gonna look stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He has that's his thing, and it's so admirable. I watch his videos, and it's like this guy really knows what the fuck he's talking about. Not just the fact that he knows what he's talking about, just his his command of the English language is also, it's something that I admire as well.
Right.
Needle Drop is great.
I think he's done with hip hop though.
Done with hip hop?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I just think he doesn't do too many favorable reviews for hip hop, and it might just be the state of hip hop for him.
Well, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, you think that hip hop is something, because I mean, as far as I understand, from what I can assume, and just let me stereotype, I guess he comes from a just regular middle class suburban whatever neighborhood. Right. Suburban. I don't know if I just said what's the car is the Suburban, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still suburban, yeah.
Suburban, whatever it's called. But yeah. So do you guys think that you have to have a background that's sort of involved within the culture to properly comment on it?
Yes and no. I think yes and no, because it's refreshing for somebody to come at it from the angle of, I'm not really, indulged in this culture like that, to look at it from that angle, and somebody that's actually in it and knows the background behind it, to actually give their opinion of it too. So it can go either way. I mean, I think he has a vast knowledge of hip hop, forget that vast knowledge of music. I couldn't imagine. Like, I wonder what his day is like. I just see him just sitting in there like with an IV, you know what I'm saying, just listening to music, you know.
Dude, that guy does YouTube 100% of his time. I couldn't even. I mean, I would love to do the same, and hopefully one day I can. And you know, until that day, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with him and just tell him, dude, how do you handle that chaos? Like, how do you schedule? Because it's very tough to manage yourself, you know. Because if you're working independently, nothing moves unless you do it.
Yeah.
So that's very difficult.
Yeah,
it's very difficult.
He's made it. I mean, he got interviewed by Nardwuar, so in my books, he's made it.
Yeah, basically, that's it.
Yeah, so definitely,
not,
man.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you got any questions, man?
Okay.
Yeah, well, shoot, I think that's all.
Yeah, I guess we're done.
Yeah, I guess we're done, man. Well, thank you again, man. We definitely appreciate it, and just keep putting out good videos, man. What's one of your favorites?
One of my favorite videos. One of my favorite videos is a video that like nobody really ever even cared about. Was the Danny Brown video.
Ah.
Yeah, the
Gotcha.
Danny Brown video that I did, which is, you know, it's an odd video, but it's a video that I enjoyed making, but people mostly didn't really care about it. But it's one that I enjoyed making, and you know, that's all you can hope for. But yeah.
Yeah, the one I like was the Hobson one that didn't make our list, but the Hobson one was dope too.
Yeah, the Hobson. Yeah, people gave me a lot of shit for that, especially. Yeah. Well, which one? The Hobson one or the Ill Mind one?
The Hobson one about
About him or about the Ill Mind 5?
I'm not sure. The one about Eazy-E's.
Okay, yeah, that's the Hobson one. Yeah, that's the Hobson one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there were two about it, but yeah.
Gotcha.
But I mean, but fellas, you know, I you know, we could definitely do this some other time maybe, and
Sure.
it was totally a pleasure.
All right. Well, do you have a good one, man?
Yeah, you too.
All right. Peace.
All right, guys.